So in this problem, we're given a table, and it has in it a bunch of information and even more blanks, and we're told to fill in the blanks using the information that we have. And some of this stuff should be pretty straightforward, like, can we turn 60 degrees into a radian? I think we can. If you just remember that degrees times pi over 180 equals radians, we can do this no problem. This becomes 60 pi over 180, or in other words, pi over 3. Okay, so some of these things should be pretty straightforward, and you've done this before. But where it really gets interesting is all these sine, cosine, and tangent values. And we're going to try to figure out what angles corresponds to particular sine, cosine, tangent values. I'm thinking down here is where this really gets interesting. Okay. Now, for this, I recommend using your unit circle. And look what I have here. Look at that. The unit circle in all her glory. So find the angles that you're working with. And then remember, what is the sine of an angle? That's the y-coordinate. And the cosine is the x-coordinate. So here we go. Let's take this first one again. What's the sine of 60 degrees? Well, we come down to 60 degrees. Let me find a color that that'll going to work for me. Let's pick Riverton purple. And 60 degrees is right over here. So this is the one I'm interested in. Sine of 60 degrees. And we come up here and we say, okay, what's the y value? Well, that is just root 3 over 2. Okay, you can see it right on the unit circle there. And the cosine value is 1/2. And we get to the tangent value now. What's the tangent of 60 degrees? Well, if you don't have those memorized, and honestly, most of the time I don't. I really only memorize this when it's time of year to do trigonometry. But what you can do is this. This is very useful. Remember that the tangent is equal to sine divided by cosine. This is one of the quotient properties of trigonometry. And now, even if you don't have tangent memorized, you can say, oh, well, that means tangent of 60 degrees equals sine of 60 over cosine of 60, which means it's going to be equal to, what's the sine of 60? That is root 3 over 2 divided by 1/2. Okay. Now remember, when you're dividing by 1/2, what that really means is you're multiplying by 2. And then these 2's cross out, and root 3 divided by 1 is just root 3. Now, if you don't like doing that fraction algebra stuff there, then go ahead and memorize tangents. Okay, they're not too hard. But we're going to go through this process for every point in this table. And rather than fill out the whole table here, I want to do one more, which I think is going to be interesting. And let's change to, you know what? It's time for obnoxious green. Let's look at this one right here. Okay, that is not nearly obnoxious enough. Got to make this thicker. Here we go. Okay, I want an angle where the tangent is negative root 3 and the sine is negative root 3 over 2. So let's use the sine information first. The sine of the angle. So negative root 3 over 2. Where is the y value equal to negative root 3 over here? It's obviously not up on the top of the circle because those are all positive y values. So I know that with this thing right here, I'm looking for negative values of y. That's going to be on the lower half. So, oh, look, that's also an obnoxious green. Isn't that great? There's an option, and there's an option. One of those two things is the angle I want because they have y values of negative root 3 over 2, which is, that's this guy right here. So which one is it? Well, where is tangent negative? Remember, tangent is sine divided by cosine. Now, both sine and cosine are negative here. So this quadrant is positive tangent. That's not going to work for us. We need negative tangents. So that is over here in quadrant 4. Negative tangent. And the way I know the tangent is negative there is I think, okay, I've got positive x values, negative y values. The ratio is going to be negative. And that means this is the one I want right here. Okay, so I would say, what is that, 300 degrees? I would fill in my angle here, and let's see, that would be 300 degrees. Okay, and then you figure out the radians, and you go down here and you figure out what the cosine value is. Looks like it's 1/2. Great, so we put in 1/2, and that's how you figure out this table.